Have you ever had a premonition or after going to sleep, having a dream that came true for you? That's today's subject. Hi there, welcome. My name is Ellen. Appreciate you tuning in. Thank you. I also wanted to let you know, by the way, that all my videos are always unedited. Okay, I'm trying to keep it real. So what you see is what you get. All right, thank you. Anyway, three things I want to cover with you. So three things. One is foretelling a gift? Question mark. Number two would be, how do you remember a dream in the best way? And what do you do when you have an unsettling dream? So these are the three things I'm going to cover with you. So please like my video if you are interested, because it really helps pushing it out to others who might benefit from it. So thank you. So anyway, so we all have gifts, and it's a matter of you wanting to develop those gifts. And if not, then perhaps you want to move on to another video. But if you are interested in developing it, your gifts, there are many that we obviously all have. But one of them is um, to stay true to perhaps your experiences that you have while you are sleeping, because the subconscious communicates with you while you're sleeping. And the good thing about dreaming when you're sleeping is that your ego is tuned off. So all the communication you receive is really from your subconscious, which can be very helpful. So this would be about developing your gifts, to tune into them. It really helps to write them down on a daily basis. Sometimes you might even find that you wake up in the middle of the night and have a dream. And if you can remember it, I'm sorry, write it down right away. Or perhaps you have a recorder that you want to speak into. You know, we have different ways of recording things, right? But if you want to write it down, that's a great tool. For myself, I must admit, I don't write down every dream, but I do write down the dreams that stay with me after I've woken up and I've been up for a while, maybe even have had a cup of coffee. At times, a dream that I've had stays with me for hours, and I definitely write it down then. But then there are dreams that you might have that you didn't write down, but you do remember them. They were that evident. It's almost like it was real life, like it really happened. We've all been there at one point, I'm sure. I know I have, and I've talked to many other people, and they at times have these dreams. Sometimes they're pleasant, other times not so much, and they really stay with them. So there are dreams that are unsettling at times. I know for myself, you probably know or remember perhaps that I did a video on my birthday. I turned 69, and I really said to myself, it was like a week prior to my birthday. I said to myself, I'm going to treat myself. And I'm going to go ahead and book a little cabin in Sedona. And I'm just going to spend 3 days or so and do my filming from the Grand Canyon. Wouldn't that be fun? And so I actually booked a cabin, and I was really excited. I told a few friends and some family members, so please don't come down here to visit me or surprise me, because I'm not going to be home. And so I was really excited, and I got my suitcase out and kind of started look at what the temperature would be like and what have you. And then 3 days prior to me leaving, just a few days after I booked, I had a dream, and I woke up actually around 4:30 that morning, and I I thought it was real. I was dreaming that I actually drove through flames, that there was fire on all around me, and there was a lot of smoke, and I woke up coughing, and it was so real that I thought about it the next morning, and I went back to sleep, and I saw myself it was just a dream. But I remember the surrounding area in my dream, and it wasn't where I'm living currently. So I said to myself, I think that was Sedona. I mean, it just felt like, because I've been there before. And I said to myself the next morning, I prayed for a while and then I meditated, always kind of do a combination. And I sat with it. And by the time 11, 12 o'clock came around, I told myself, I just knew I had to cancel that trip. And so I canceled my trip. I decided not to go to Sedona and was a little bummed about it because I kind of, really wanted to go. But I just knew it was not a good idea. I just instinctively, I mean, from my dream, I was just so shook up when I woke up at 3:30 that morning that I said to myself, I'm going to have to pray about it. I'm going to have to meditate. I'm going to have to, figure it out if I really want to go. So anyway, days after my birthday, I actually found out that there were wildfires. So a day or 2 days maybe after my birthday, I had tuned into the news and they were talking about how wildfire had spread, and it was interesting that Sedona was very smoky and there were fires. And my favorite route that I usually take from Sedona to the Grand Canyon, it's a back road where there are lots of beautiful mountains, just all the red dirt everywhere. It is absolutely stunning. Apparently, that was closed. So I ask myself sometimes, if I would have gone through it on my birthday, what would have happened? I'm not even going to go there, but it is interesting how sometimes your subconscious is trying to communicate even upcoming possible danger, right? Other times there are good news. I've had dreams where I actually had dreamt about my daughter, who was single at that time, with her first child being a boy, and them, her and her husband and the baby living in London. And years later, years and years later, um, they actually had moved to London just for a year. They lived there for a year. And I thought that was the funniest thing. And when she told me she was pregnant, I just knew it was a boy. I didn't tell her that, because I didn't want to, bust the bubble there of surprises. But I just knew. And it's interesting how we sometimes have these, it's like a message from the subconscious. And like I said, sometimes they are pleasant ones, and other times it's a warning. And of course, you can sometimes even have dreams of like you have an interview or what have you, and you already are dreaming about being in that position and, being promoted and being in a position of authority. And all this is panning out. And you go to the interview and you know in your heart that you have that job, and not just that job, but you already have the next promotion in your bag. You just know it. And that is sometimes when you have these dreams, they are so, they are not subtle at all. It's almost like, a foretelling of your immediate future. And like I said, I think it's really important to tune in to your spirit, to your inner guidance, and make sure that you are in tune, that you are actually listening, and that you act accordingly. I think it's really important because sometimes I think we are being notified and we are dismissing it because we think, oh, it's just a dream. But there are lots of just dreams. But at the same time, there are these just dreams, like when you perhaps have been, reading a book that captured your attention, or perhaps, watched a movie, or, you had some kind of interesting conversation that stays with you for a while. So at times at night, that you digest these things, right? But then the other times there are messages, and I believe that they are from the subconscious. So pay attention to those, because when something gives you anxiety in the middle of the night, and you wake up in a sweat, or you are afraid of whatever had happened in your dream, there's a scary dream or a nightmare, so to speak. It is really just your subconscious that is trying to get your attention. I really do. I think it is important for you to then kind of write it down and sit with it for a little bit and try to figure out how it pertains to your life. Because, like I said, if it is something that was upsetting, you really do want to tune in it to it a little bit more and ensure that you stay safe. I mean, there are a lot of things we don't understand because we obviously don't have a view on everything that's going on around us. We can only see what's in front of us and on the side. We don't know what's going on behind us, and certainly not on what's going on in the future. So it is about paying attention because your subconscious is constantly communicating with you, especially when you're sleeping, when you are almost like a vessel, right? You are open to things and your ego is turned off completely. So your ego is not intervening, trying to debate with your subconscious on what 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 it thinks should be done, right? So pay attention to it. It's really important. So I'm going to go ahead and call this it for today. And I'm hoping that you will start writing things down for yourself. And then that way you can kind of develop, you can see a pattern perhaps on your dream world because everyone's is different. And to see a pattern, to see in what direction you might be wanting to go in the future, if that's something that you're seeking. I mean, that's obviously just one of many gifts that we have, but if you're interested, I think writing down, getting like a dream journal, it's a good idea to understand yourself a little bit better as well, because you don't want to keep making the same mistakes, right? And by writing things down, sometimes you see patterns. You go like, oh, I've been through these things a few years ago. Don't need to revisit that one, right? So anyway, happy Friday. Have a great weekend and please share and subscribe because YouTube always offers subscriptions for free. So I would appreciate your subscriptions and your support. And with that, I'm going to call it for the day, and I'll see you on Tuesday. Thank you so much. You have a lovely day.